when we are talking about solving basic linear equations, there's some processes that are called inverse operations that we need to pay attention to. Addition and subtraction are inverse operations. So here we are adding x plus 5. We need to get x alone. What are we going to do? We're going to subtract 5. So subtract 5 from both sides of that equal sign. Make sure you are keeping that equal sign clear. So what I'm left with over here is the x equals 7.
Yeah.
On the second one, if I have x minus 5, I'm going to add 5 to both sides of the equal sign.
Wait. Oh, yeah.
So I've got x equals 17. So those are just one step. On the next part, multiplication and division are also inverse operations. If I am multiplying, then I'm going to solve by dividing. If I am dividing, then I'm going to solve by multiplying. So if I have 5x, which is 5 times x, what do I do to get x alone? I'm going to divide both sides by 5. This is not going to come out to a whole number, so those of you with calculators, 42 divided by 5 is what? 8.4. And once you have that x by itself, then you're good to go. This one I'm going to write over here so I have a little bit more space. Got x over 3 equals 42. X over 3 is the same as what? X divided by 3. So remember, a fraction is the top divided by the bottom. So if I'm dividing, how do I undo that? How do I get x alone? I multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. Divides out there, so I've got x equals 126. Somebody want to check me on that? Yeah. Okay. So when I'm looking at multi-step problems, I kind of have to unwrap that x. So if I have 4x minus 10, something to consider is that I'm multiplying x by 4 and then I'm subtracting 10. So in the order of operations, when I'm solving, I need to move backwards. So the order of operations is parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. So to solve, I'm kind of going to work backwards on that. So what's the first thing I'm going to get rid of to solve this problem? I'm going to get rid of the 10. So I'm going to put my line down the equal sign, add 10 to both sides. So I've got 4x equals 90. And what am I going to do? Divided by 4. So I've got x equals 22.5, I believe. Yes. 22.5. All right, number 6. I have 6 minus 3x equals 18. What do I need to get rid of first?
6.
The 6. And how do I get rid of that 6? I subtract it. Because there's no symbol with it, it's not a plus or minus, we know that it's positive, so we're going to subtract it from both sides of the equal sign.
Damn.
What am I left with on this side?
Negative 3x.
Negative 3x. Good catch on that negative. And what is 18 minus 6? 12. What do I do next?
Divided by 10.
Divide by negative 3. Make sure the negative goes with it.
What?
And what is 12 divided by negative 3? Negative 4. Okay. So the the square root property now brings into this another step to this. So multiplying and dividing are inverse operations, adding and subtracting are inverse operations. What we're going to be working with today is squaring and square rooting being inverse operations. So what we're going to do is we'll do the class examples together, and then you guys will do the classwork problems on your own. Okay, so if I have x squared equals 49, what's the inverse operation for that square? Square root. So I have x equals, what is the square root of 49? Now, here's where you have to be careful. Is it just 7? 7 and negative 7. And the reason for that, so this little plus or minus sign, yep. So here's why. If I have 7 squared, that equals 49. If I have negative 7 squared, negative 7 times negative 7, that is also 49. So I have two answers here for x, plus and minus 7. That's what that little symbol there means, plus and minus. Any questions on that? Alright. Number 8, 4x squared equals 20. What's my first step going to be? Divide by 4, because I have to get that x squared alone before I want to start square rooting. So divide by 4. So what am I left with on this side? X squared, because those 4's divide out to 1, so I've got x squared equals what? 5.
Oh.
Now what? Now I square root it. So how am I going to write my answer? Does 5 have a perfect square root? So I'm going to leave this as plus or minus the square root of 5. If I wanted to approximate it, do my little squiggly equal sign, that means approximately. And then what do you get when you take the square root of 5 in your calculator? 2.5. That's 5 divided by 2, not the square root of 5. So what is the square root of 5? It'll be 2 point something. 2.23. So we'll leave it at that. And that's why we generally want to leave it as the square root of 5, because that's exact. Here we had to round it off. Alright, number 9. It's my first step. Add 9. Almost done. 2x squared equals 9. Now what do I do? Now what do I do? Divide by 2. So I've got x squared equals 4.5. Now what do I do?
Hey, you get the 4.5.
9 divided by 2. So x equals, and I'm going to leave this as a plus or minus square root of 4.5.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes and see how you do.
Why are you writing the reason down?
So you guys understood the plus or minus part. So I'm going to give you guys about 5 or 10 minutes to work on the classroom or classwork problems, and then we'll move on to the back side in just a moment.